In our first reading for this class, Socrates explained to his good friend Crito that he would not escape from jail and would instead face the death penalty imposed upon him by the state. Socrates felt he had to do this because if he were to escape from jail, he would disown the principles and values to which he had devoted himself throughout his life. For Socrates, in other words, living a consistently good life, a consistently ethical life, was more important than life itself. Now, having reached the end of the semester and having studied ethics for 3.5 months, I don't necessarily hope that all of you are ready to face the death sentence in defense of ethics and the good life as Socrates was. However, there are at least 3 things that I do hope you take from this class. First, I hope that the class has in some ways challenged your own personal ethics. Notice that I said challenged, not changed. Indeed, I wouldn't expect or desire one class in philosophy to change your basic beliefs. Beliefs like murder and lying are wrong, charity and honesty are good, and so on. For one thing, I fully agree with these basic moral convictions, as do most other philosophers. Kant, Aristotle, and Mill all agree that murder is wrong and charity is good. There is thus no reason that this class would give you any reason to change such beliefs. However, at the same time, I would consider the class a failure if you were not challenged in any way to scrutinize what you already do believe to be right and wrong, and to ask why you have these beliefs and what makes them correct. Is your belief in the wrongness of murder, for instance, based on the fact that, as Mill would say, murder decreases happiness in the world? Or is it based on Kant's observation that murder treats people as ends, means, rather than as ends? Or is it based on the Aristotelian doctrine that murderers are improperly functioning human beings? Or perhaps a little bit of all 3? Based on the answer you give, your belief that murder is wrong turns out to be something very different and with very different implications for other areas of your ethical life. So then, I do hope that this class has challenged your own beliefs. However, I also hope that it has helped you understand the ethics of others. It is, for instance, difficult to understand seemingly overzealous charity workers until you have read a guy like Singer. Singer puts forward such a clear argument about our moral obligations to the poor that, even if you don't agree with him, you can't help but appreciate the efforts of those who spend every moment of their lives raising money for charity. Reading Marx, on the other hand, should have helped you see that socialists and communists are not actually evil people attempting to destroy everything good. Rather, they are determined and deeply ethical people attempting to achieve a very specific sort of good life for themselves and their fellow human beings. These examples, however, the examples of charity workers and socialists, are rather extreme. Indeed, I also hope that this class has helped you begin to understand the ethics of the people you interact with every day, why your friends, family members, and co-workers hold the ethical beliefs that they do, even when these beliefs are different than your own. I hope, for example, that you can now better understand why someone might support the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan while you do not, why someone might be in favor of healthcare reform while you are not, why someone might feel voting Republican is an ethical obligation while you hold it to be an ethical obligation to vote Democrat. Once we begin to understand the ethics of others, even if this understanding does not lead us to modify our own beliefs, it can, in the very least, lead us to informed and potentially productive dialogue. I hope, then, that this class has challenged you to investigate both your own ethical convictions and those of others. Lastly, then, and most broadly, I hope that the course has helped you think about why we have ethics in the first place. Why, that is, it seems important for us as humans to live the good life. Indeed, the very existence of ethics means that humans do not feel that it is enough simply to be alive. Rather, we feel that part of living a good and full life involves acting in certain ways towards ourselves and others and becoming certain sorts of people. We are thus disowning ourselves whenever we forget about this, whenever we get caught up in the daily routine of working, playing, raising families, and being with friends. We disown our nature as ethical beings, in other words, when we get so caught up in living life that we forget all about what actually makes life worth living. I thus hope, in the end, that even if this class did not convince you to follow Socrates' footsteps and sacrifice your life for the sake of living a good one, it at least helped you understand why he did.